sucks to be them. I'm telling you, but if you think that's bad, you should try and be an exploited home-owning taxpayer. That's worse. But the only thing I could suggest is there are vacant lots downtown. They're not getting any tax for them, and it's not a municipal mandate, but they could give that land to the provincial government and let them build homelessness shelters. Another thing they should do is they should double it up. They could have brother and brother, or father and son, or mother and sister, or what have you. They could have 2 people to a room in those places. And the buildings we have, all of a sudden, we'd only have half of the homeless people. And some of them are fairly stubborn. They could spend their rent on, they could spend the money they get on rent, but they would sooner spend it on other stuff. So, because at night you can go knock on the door at the shelter, as long as you're straight and sober, they'll let you in, give you supper, you spend the night, give you some breakfast, and you're out. Now that's not really a home, but it does get them off the street in the nighttime when it's cold.
Well, with homeless people, there's 2 different kinds of homeless people. There are the ones that are in a downtime. They don't have the funds, they don't have addictions, they might have a family even, and they really do need our help. And low-income housing is becoming more available. The property on Queensway in the Miller District, I believe it is a really, really bright spot in the future that we can look forward to utilizing to help these people. However, homeless people that are injecting heroin or using crack on the street, making downtown Prince George unsafe, and committing crimes to try and support their addictions will not receive any help under my leadership. They don't deserve it, and I don't think we should be wasting our tax dollars on things like that. As for moving them or having them dispersed, moving the Needle Exchange Center and their support services will support that, and they should be, I'm thinking, locating them somewhere a little further downtown towards the industrial side. As for a final solution, there aren't really many, so we need to work with the council and a trained group of people to try and come to a proper conclusion.
Part of my downtown platform that I outlined the 3 primary areas that I have focused on and dealing with the Safer Streets initiative. And I think that's a priority. We have to work on that right away. And in fact, I would put additional resources to that. Any incremental increase in revenue from the traffic fine sharing program from the province, I'd like to see put into the Safer Streets initiative that would be managed through community policing, the RCMP, the social agencies in downtown Prince George, potentially also looking at revenue from any excess revenue from parking from the downtown area so that we could create that safe environment. But the second key component of that is the investment component. I believe that there are opportunities for the city to bring to the table, and it's outlined in my platform, to use the property, that holdings that we have, as leverage to create an opportunity in partnership with the province that would clearly have to come to the table financially to provide some housing options. And I see mixed-use housing potentially, similar to some of the projects that we move forward with the Elizabeth Fry Society on 15th Avenue, a great example of a partnership where we're able to work with the private sector, the nonprofit sector, and provide both market and non-market housing. And I'd like to see that type of initiative move forward, certainly within the first term. I'd like to see it within the first year, and I will challenge whether it's Initiatives Prince George or City Centre Ventures, the development arm for the City of Prince George, to lead that charge in getting that investment downtown, creating that partnership with the province, using our city property as leverage to make that happen.
From a homeless perspective, I subscribe to the housing first. It's surprising the learning curve that the last 9 years has been. Shelters do not meet the needs of our community. They might protect people from freezing to death in some tough weather and provide them a place at night if they choose to go there. Generally speaking, shelters deal with an 8-hour period of a 24-hour need, and we need to come up with that long-term housing initiative. It is the better way to go than policing an emergency at the hospital. But even before you get too deep into the homelessness issue, I think we need to look at the other side. There's been decisions made in recent years to close institutions in British Columbia. One example, just one example, is Riverside. I believe it had about 4,500 people in Riverside, and the decision was to close it. And people were sent to their home communities, and some of those individuals ended up on our streets. And they don't deserve incarceration. They're not criminals. They're people that have real issues and require care. And we need to work with the province to invite 24-hour care accommodation for some of those individuals. We need to offer up housing, not funded by the municipality, encouraged, in some cases the issue managed by the municipality, but funded by the province and federal government, so that there is accommodation, 24-hour living accommodation for those in need. And then enforcement needs to tighten up in the way some people conduct themselves on our downtown streets. Not those that require care, but those that deserve to better manage their behavior on the streets of our downtown.